Captain Lee Minho stood at the front of the great Warship bridge looking out at the strange new stars. They had traveled for 3 long years to reach this place where alien enemies had killed human people. The ship, called Quaked, was bigger than any city back on Earth. It was 15 kilometers long and covered with weapons that could break planets in half. The bridge was quiet except for the soft sounds of computers working. Park Sora sat at her station, listening to alien radio talks from across the galaxy. Her fingers moved fast on the light screens in front of her. She could understand 12 different alien languages, and right now she was hearing fear in all of them. Kim Ji-won checked the big guns that lined both sides of their massive ship. Each weapon was as long as a skyscraper and could fire energy beams across solar systems down in the engine room. Yoon Dae-ho watched the numbers that showed how much power their ship was using. The reactor at the heart of Quaked was unlike anything humans had ever built before. It used the same energy that powered stars, and right now it was running at only 10% of its real strength. That small amount of power was enough to move their giant ship faster than light itself. Nobody in this galaxy knew they were coming. The aliens had attacked human colonies thinking Earth was weak and far away. They had burned entire worlds, killed millions of innocent people, and celebrated their easy wins. But those aliens did not know that Earth had been building something in secret for 50 long years. The Quaked was not just a warship. It was humanity's answer to anyone who thought humans were easy prey. 3 years ago, the alien fleet had appeared in the Centauri system without warning. They destroyed the human colonies there in just 1 day. Women and children died screaming as alien weapons turned their cities into glass. The few survivors who escaped brought terrible news back to Earth. The galaxy was full of cruel species who saw humans as nothing more than weak animals to be hunted. Earth's leaders met in secret halls deep underground. They looked at reports from the destroyed colonies and made a decision that would change everything. The aliens thought they were safe in their distant galaxy. They thought no human ship could reach them across the vast emptiness of space. They were wrong about many things, but mostly they were wrong about what happens when you make humans angry. Captain Minho had been chosen to lead this mission because he understood war. He had fought in the conflicts on Mars and had seen what happened when enemies underestimated human will. His crew was the best that Earth could provide. Each person on the ship had trained for years to use weapons and technology that aliens could not even imagine. The ship's AI system, called Hanul, spoke to the captain in a calm voice that sounded almost human. The computer had been learning about alien tactics for months. By studying their communications, it knew where every enemy ship was located and how they liked to fight. Soon, it would show them why that knowledge was so dangerous in the wrong hands. As they moved closer to the first alien system, Minho felt the weight of his mission. Every human being on Earth was counting on his crew to bring justice to those who had murdered their people. The aliens had made a terrible mistake when they decided to test humanity's strength. Soon the entire galaxy would learn why humans had survived every challenge that their harsh homeworld had thrown at them. The first alien system appeared on their screens. It had 7 planets and was protected by a fleet of enemy warships. The aliens called themselves the Zephian Empire, and they ruled this part of space through fear and violence. Their ships looked like giant insects made of metal, and their weapons could destroy cities with single shots. But the aliens had never seen anything like the Quaked. Their sensors could not even measure how powerful the human ship was. When they tried to scan its weapon systems, their computers simply showed error messages. The hull was made from materials that did not exist anywhere in nature, and the energy readings coming from inside were impossible according to alien science. Communications officer Park Sora intercepted the enemy radio chatter and translated it for the captain. The aliens were confused and worried. They had never encountered a ship they could not identify or understand. Some of their commanders were suggesting that they should try to communicate with the humans. Others wanted to attack immediately before the strange ship could do whatever it had come to do. Captain Minho listened to the alien voices and felt no pity for their confusion. These were the same creatures who had laughed while burning human children alive. They had shown no mercy to innocent colonists, and now they would receive none in return. The time for talk had ended 3 years ago when the first human settlements died. An alien Fire Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shinari prepared the medical bay for what was coming. She had treated the survivors who escaped from the Centauri colonies and had seen what alien weapons did to human bodies. The memories of those broken people drove her to work harder to ensure that the Quaked Dawn's crew would not suffer the same fate. The ship moved through space like a predator approaching prey. Its dark hull absorbed light, making it hard to see even when alien sensors were pointed right at it. The weapon systems began to charge with energy that made the surrounding space itself bend and twist. Reality seemed to hold its breath as humanity's greatest creation prepared to announce its presence to the galaxy. Soon every alien in this system would know that humans had arrived and that the age of easy victories over Earth's children was over. The hunt was about to begin, and this time the aliens would be the ones running, in fear. Admiral Vex stood in the command center of his flagship, watching the strange new ship on his screens. He was the leader of 200 Zephian warships and had conquered 40 different worlds during his long military career. His species looked like giant insects with sharp claws and black eyes that could see in many different types of light. They had ruled this sector of space for 3 centuries through superior technology and ruthless tactics. The human ship did not look like anything in the Zephian database. It was enormous but moved with grace that seemed impossible for something so large. The hull was darker than space itself and covered with structures that their best scientists could not identify when they tried to scan. The ship's weapons, their instruments, simply stopped working. Vex clicked his mandibles together in the way his people showed amusement. These humans had sent only one ship against his entire fleet. Either they were incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. He suspected it was the second option. Most species that challenged the Zephian Empire learned their mistake very quickly and very painfully. Lieutenant Commander Oh Hyunwoo sat at his station on the Quaked Dawn, monitoring every alien transmission. In the system, he could speak 17 alien languages fluently and understood the cultural meanings behind their words. Right now, he was listening to the Zephian commanders discuss whether to attack or try to communicate first. Captain Minho stood behind him, listening to the translations. The aliens were calling humans arrogant fools who did not understand the power they were facing. Some suggested that the human ship was here to surrender on behalf of all Earth colonies. Others believed it was some kind of trick or trap. Minho felt cold anger building in his chest as he listened to their casual discussion of human weakness. These creatures had murdered innocent families, and now they were debating whether humans were worth their attention. They would learn very soon that they had made the worst mistake in their species' history. The Quaked Dawn's main computer, Hanul, had been analyzing Zephian ship designs and weapon systems for the past hour. It found 17 critical weaknesses in their technology and calculated the most efficient way to exploit each one. The alien ships were powerful by the standards of this galaxy, but they were like wooden swords compared to what humans had built. Weapons specialist Kim Ji-won received permission to charge the primary weapons array. She had trained for 5 years to operate systems that used more energy than entire alien civilizations. The weapons were not just mounted on the ship's surface, the entire hull could focus and direct energy in ways that violated alien understanding of physics. The first sign that something was wrong came when every Zephian sensor in the system began showing impossible readings. Energy levels were climbing beyond what their instruments could measure. Space itself seemed to be getting hotter around the human ship. The fabric of reality began to bend and twist as massive amounts of power built up inside the Quaked Dawn. Admiral Vex stopped laughing when his science officers reported what they were seeing. The human ship was generating more energy than a small star. His best weapons could destroy planets, but what he was looking at could probably destroy solar systems. Some of his officers suggested immediate retreat, but Vex's pride would not let him run from a single enemy vessel. The Quaked Dawn fired its first shot and the galaxy changed forever. The weapon that emerged was not just an energy beam. It was a focused stream of pure destruction that cut through space itself. The blast struck 3 Zephian ships directly, and they simply vanished as if they had never existed. But that was only the beginning. The energy beam punched a hole in the fabric of space, creating a shock wave that spread outward at the speed of light. 50 more alien ships found their engines shutting down, their weapons powering off, and their life support systems failing. The crews inside fell unconscious as waves of exotic energy washed over them. In 30 seconds, the humans had proven they were not just another weak species to be conquered. They were something far more dangerous than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Zephian Empire, which had ruled through fear for centuries, suddenly found themselves on the receiving end of terror beyond their imagination. Admiral Vex floated in his command chair as emergency power kept his ship's basic systems running. His proud fleet was scattered across space like broken toys. Half his vessels were completely dead in the void, while the others limped away on failing engines. He tried to send a distress call to Zephian High Command but found that human jamming was blocking all communications. The Quaked Dawn moved through the wreckage of alien ships like death itself. Its weapons had powered down, but everyone in the system could feel the terrible potential sleeping just beneath its dark hull. Captain Minho opened a communication channel to the surviving alien vessels. His message was simple and delivered in perfect Zephian language. "You attacked our colonies, you killed our children. Now you will learn what happens when you threaten humanity. This is only the beginning." The few Zephian ships that could still move fled the system as fast as their damaged engines could carry them behind them. The Quaked Dawn turned toward the next alien stronghold. Its mission of justice had begun, and nothing in the galaxy would be the same again. Word of the human ship spread faster than the surviving aliens could travel. Every species with communication technology heard about the single vessel that had destroyed the mighty Zephian fleet in half a minute. Fear began to spread through alien civilizations like a plague. They had all heard stories about the weak humans on the edge of the galaxy. Now they knew those stories were terribly wrong. Captain Song Nari sat in the intelligence center of the Quaked Dawn, surrounded by screens showing alien communication networks across the galaxy. She was fluent in 47 different alien languages and had been listening to their panic-filled transmissions for 3 days straight. Fear was spreading through every civilization faster than their fastest ships could travel. The story of the human warship was growing with each telling. Some aliens claimed it was 50 kilometers long. Others said it could destroy entire solar systems with a single shot. The truth was impressive enough, but fear was making the legend even larger. Every species that had ever heard of humans was suddenly very interested in where Earth was located and how many more ships they might have. News of the battle reached the Corvan Republic first. Their traders were always the fastest to learn about important events. The Corvan leadership held an emergency meeting that lasted 18 hours. They had been considering an attack on human shipping routes, but those plans were quickly abandoned. The humans had clearly been hiding their true capabilities, and the Corvans did not want to be the next species to discover what Earth could really do. The Quaked Dawn moved from system to system, hunting down the alien fleets that had participated in attacks on human colonies. Each battle was more devastating than the last. The ship's AI Hanul had learned to predict alien tactics perfectly. It could calculate exactly where enemy ships would move and what weapons they would use. The result was a series of one-sided victories that left alien commanders completely helpless. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shin Eri found herself with very little work to do. Human casualties were incredibly light despite fighting against overwhelming numbers. The ship's defensive systems were so advanced that alien weapons could barely scratch the hull. Most of the crew injuries were minor accidents during routine operations, rather than battle wounds. The Vorthon Dominion controlled 12 star systems and had the second largest military in the galaxy. When news of the human ship reached their capital world, Vorthon Prime, their emperor called for immediate mobilization of all available forces. If humans were planning to conquer alien territory, they would find the Vorthons ready to fight, but the humans were not interested in conquest. They wanted something much simpler and far more terrifying. They wanted justice for their murdered colonists, and they would accept nothing less than complete victory. The Quaked Dawn appeared in Vorthon space without warning and destroyed their home defense fleet in 8 minutes. The survivors were allowed to live, so they could carry the message to other alien worlds. Ambassador Crix of the Vorthon government was summoned to an emergency session of the Galactic Council representatives from hundreds of species gathered on Nexus Prime to discuss the human threat. The Great Assembly Hall had never seen so many frightened leaders in one place before. Crick stood before the assembled delegates and shared what his people had learned. The human ship had destroyed over 1,000 vessels in just 2 weeks. Their most advanced weapons could not even damage its hull. Their fastest ships could not escape its pursuit. Every tactical advantage that aliens had relied on for centuries was useless against human technology. The Mandari Confederation offered to share their most advanced shield technology with anyone willing to fight the humans. The Nexari Trade Union promised to fund a joint military operation against Earth. The Zephyrian Star Empire pledged 50,000 ships to a combined fleet. But deep in their hearts, every alien leader knew that numbers alone would not be enough. Intelligence reports from across the galaxy painted a picture of human capabilities that defied belief. The ship could manipulate gravity, bend space, and channel energy on scales that alien science said was impossible. Their computers worked faster than alien supercomputers. Their materials were stronger than anything found in nature. Their weapons used principles that violated known laws of physics. Captain Minho read the intercepted alien communications with cold satisfaction. The galaxy's most powerful empires were beginning to understand what they had awakened when they decided to test humanity's resolve. But understanding and acceptance were two different things. The aliens would fight because surrender meant admitting that their technological superiority was an illusion. Navigation Officer Jung Soo-young plotted their course to the next target system. The hegemony of Sec had provided ships for the attack on human colonies, and their leaders had personally ordered the execution of human prisoners. It was time for them to answer for those crimes. The Teguk Dawn turned toward their territory like an arrow fired from the bow of justice. Back on Earth, the human government was preparing for what would come next. They had always known that revealing their true capabilities would change the balance of power in the galaxy. Other human ships were being prepared for launch along with colony vessels, construction equipment, and diplomatic teams. The age of human expansion among the stars was about to begin. The aliens had made their choice when they attacked innocent human settlements. Now they would live with the consequences of that decision. Every species in the galaxy was about to learn a lesson that bullies throughout history had learned too late. There is always someone stronger, and humanity had just proven they were. Word continued to spread through alien communication networks. The humans were coming and nothing could stop them. The age of easy victories over Earth's children was ending, and something new and terrible was taking its place. The galaxy held its breath and waited to see what humanity would do next. 5 of the galaxy's most powerful empires met in secret on the neutral world of Kepler Station. The Zephian Empire, the Vorthan Dominion, the Corvan Republic, the hegemony of Sec, and the Nexari Trade Union had never worked together before. But the human threat was forcing old enemies to become desperate allies. Emperor Thax of the Vortans addressed the gathered leaders. His species looked like tall lizards with golden scales and had ruled 17 star systems for 2,000 years. Face extinction, he said in the common galactic language. This human ship has destroyed our finest vessels like they were made of paper. If we do not unite now, we will all fall separately. The meeting lasted for 7 days, as military leaders planned, the largest space battle in galactic history. They would combine their fleets at the Kepler Nebula, where ancient gas clouds would provide some cover from human sensors. 10,000 ships from 5 different species would attack the Teguk Dawn. At the same time, their combined firepower could destroy entire solar systems. Commander An Seung-yun worked with the tactical team aboard the human warship to analyze the growing alien threat. The ship's long-range sensors could detect the massive enemy fleet gathering 3 star systems away. Every type of alien warship was represented, from fast attack craft to enormous dreadnoughts that were cities in space. The aliens had learned from their previous defeats they were not going to attack in small groups or try to communicate first. This time they would use overwhelming numbers and coordinated tactics to try to destroy the human ship before it could respond. Every weapon would fire at once. Every ship would attack from a different angle. Back in the engine room, Engineering Officer Cho Min-seok made final adjustments to the quantum drive systems. The coming battle would test every system on the Quaked Dawn beyond its normal limits. The reactor was already running at 40% capacity just to keep the defensive shields active. When the fighting began, they would need much more power, Captain. Minho called a meeting of all senior officers in the main briefing room. The holographic display showed the alien fleet in perfect detail, 10,000 enemy vessels arranged in attack formations that had been perfected over centuries of warfare. Each ship was deadly in its own right, and together they represented the military might of half the galaxy. The aliens think they can overwhelm us with numbers, Minho told his officers. They still do not understand what we really are. We did not come here to fight fair battles. We came here to end this war permanently and show the galaxy that humanity cannot be threatened without consequences. Dr. Shin Eri had converted several cargo bays into emergency medical facilities, even though she expected few human casualties. The psychological impact of the coming battle would be severe for both sides. When 10,000 alien ships attacked at once, the noise and chaos would be unlike anything ever seen in space. The Quaked Dawn had capabilities that no alien civilization could imagine. Its hull was made from materials forged in Earth's sun, using technology that bent the laws of physics. The ship could manipulate gravity, create artificial black holes, and channel the power of stars through weapon systems that existed in 11 dimensions. Intelligence Officer Song Nari monitored alien communications as their fleet moved into position. The enemy commanders were nervous despite their numerical advantage. They had all heard reports about previous battles where the human ship had done impossible things. Some were already planning escape routes in case the attack failed. Grand Alliance fleet arrived at Kepler Nebula in perfect formation. Their ships stretched across space in a pattern that looked like a metal galaxy. Each vessel was a masterpiece of alien engineering, designed to fight and win against any possible enemy. But none of them had been designed to fight against something like the Quaked Dawn. Admiral Crix commanded the Allied forces from his flagship, a massive Vorthon battlecruiser that was 3 kilometers long and armed with weapons that could crack moons. He looked at the human ship hanging in space ahead of them and felt doubt creeping into his mind. The enemy vessel seemed so small compared to his enormous fleet, but appearances had been deceiving throughout this entire war. The human ship waited motionless in the center of the nebula. Its dark hull absorbed the light from nearby stars, making it look like a hole cut out of space itself. Weapon systems that alien sensors could not even detect were powering up inside that innocuous-looking vessel. Soon they would unleash destruction on a scale that the galaxy had never witnessed. Communications between the Allied fleets crackled with nervous energy. Commanders checked their weapons one final time and made sure their escape pods were ready just in case some officers said prayers to their various gods asking for victory, or at least an honorable death in battle. They were about to face humanity's greatest achievement, and deep in their hearts they suspected they were not ready. The stage was set for the most important battle in galactic history. On one side stood the combined military might of 5 ancient empires with technology refined over millions of years. On the other side was a single ship from a species that most aliens had considered primitive just weeks before. The outcome would determine whether humans joined the galactic community as equals or as its new masters. The battle began when the first wave of alien fighters launched from their carrier ships. Thousands of small attack craft swarmed toward the Quaked Dawn like angry insects, their weapons lighting up the darkness of space. The human ship hung motionless in the center of the Kepler Nebula, waiting for them to come close enough. Navigation Officer Jung Soo-young activated the gravity manipulation system, and suddenly the laws of physics seemed to break down around the human vessel. The small alien fighters found their flight paths bending in impossible directions as artificial gravity fields twisted space itself. Many crashed into each other, while others spun helplessly out of control. The second wave consisted of medium warships firing energy beams and missile barrages that would have destroyed any normal vessel. The Quaked Dawn's defensive shields absorbed the attacks and converted the incoming energy into power for its own weapon systems. The alien commanders watched in horror as their most powerful weapons actually made the human ship stronger. Weapons Officer Baek Do-hyun coordinated the counterattack with surgical precision. He did not target the largest ships or try to destroy the entire fleet at once. Instead, he focused on command vessels and communication hubs. The alien fleet suddenly found itself blind and leaderless as their coordination systems failed. One by one, Admiral Crix tried to regain control of his scattered forces, but discovered that human jamming was blocking all communications between his ships. Individual captains were fighting their own private battles without knowing what the rest of the fleet was doing. The carefully planned, coordinated assault fell apart in minutes. The Quaked Dawn moved through the enemy formations like a dancer performing a deadly ballet. Its engines could accelerate the massive ship faster than alien fighters could turn. Every movement was calculated by the AI system, Hanul, to maximize damage while minimizing exposure to enemy weapons. The result was a display of military precision that alien tacticians would study for centuries. Captain Minho stood on the bridge watching the battle unfold on the main display. Around him, his crew worked with calm efficiency that came from years of training. Nobody was panicking or shouting orders like in the alien ships. Everyone knew exactly what to do and trusted their shipmates to do the same. The alien fleet tried to surround the human ship, but discovered that the Quaked Dawn could be in several places at once. Its movement through folded space made it appear to teleport from one location to another. Ships that thought they had the human vessel trapped suddenly found themselves facing its weapons from an impossible angle. Chief Engineer Yoon Dae-ho monitored the power systems as they climbed toward maximum output. The ship's reactor was generating more energy than most alien civilizations used in a year. All of that power was flowing into the main weapon system as it prepared to fire something that would change the course of galactic history. The alien dreadnoughts finally entered the battle. Their massive hulls bristled with enough firepower to destroy planets, and their shields could withstand attacks from entire fleets. These ships were the pride of their respective empires, floating fortresses that had never been defeated in battle. But the Quaked Dawn was not just another enemy ship. It was humanity's answer to every species that thought Earth's children could be bullied without consequence. When the human vessel fired its main weapon, the very fabric of space screamed in protest. The stellar lance was not just an energy beam. It was focused destruction that existed in multiple dimensions. At once, the weapon tore through the alien fleet like light passing through glass. Ship after ship simply vanished as the beam passed through them, leaving nothing behind but empty space and the shocked silence of survivors. The explosion when the lance struck the Alliance flagship could be seen from neighboring star systems. Light brighter than 1,000 suns washed over the battlefield as the enormous Vorthon dreadnought died in nuclear fire. The shockwave that followed knocked half the remaining alien ships out of formation and disabled their weapons. Admiral Crix floated in the twisted wreckage of his command center. His golden scales burned black by the terrible heat. His empire's greatest warship was breaking apart around him, but he managed to send one final message to the Galactic Council before his communication system failed. The humans are not like us. He broadcast to anyone still listening. They are something else entirely. Something that should have stayed sleeping. In the dark we have awakened devils and called them angels. Now they will remake the galaxy in their own image. The few alien ships that could still move fled the battlefield as fast as their damaged engines would carry them. Behind them, the Quaked Dawn surveyed the wreckage of what had once been the mightiest fleet in galactic history. Broken alien vessels drifted through space like metallic graveyards, marking the end of one age and the beginning of another. Captain Minho opened communication channels to the surviving alien commanders. His message was broadcast across the galaxy so that every species would hear humanity's final words on the subject of war. You attacked our colonies and murdered our children, believing we were weak. You were wrong. Now the galaxy belongs to those strong enough to protect the innocent, and we are the strongest. The battle was over, but the war had just begun. Not a war of conquest, but a war for the future of galactic civilization. Humanity had proven its strength, now it would prove its wisdom. The age of alien dominance was ending, and something new was taking its place. 3 months after the Battle of Kepler Nebula, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The Galactic Council had dissolved when half its member species fled to distant corners of space, rather than face human justice. The trade routes that had connected alien civilizations for millennia were now patrolled by ships flying Earth's flag. Captain Minho stood in his ready room aboard the Quaked Dawn, reading reports from across known space. Alien governments were surrendering faster than human diplomats could process their submissions. Species that had ruled through fear for thousands of years were begging to become protectorates of Earth. A communication from home appeared on his personal screen. Admiral Lim Jae-hyun, commander of the Human Defense Fleet, looked tired but satisfied. The construction yards around Earth had been working without rest to build the ships that would secure humanity's new position in the galaxy. "Well done," Captain Jae-hyun said from his office on Earth orbit. "The galaxy knows, now that humanity is not to be trifled with. But we have bigger plans than just revenge. The aliens need to learn that strength without wisdom leads to the same mistakes they made when they attacked our colonies." Behind the Quaked Dawn, space began to shimmer as more human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Dozens of vessels emerged from the quantum tunnels, each one smaller than the Great Warship, but still more advanced than anything alien science could produce. The human fleet had arrived. The new ships were not all warships. Many carried colonists ready to settle on worlds that alien empires had abandoned in their rush to escape human attention. Others brought engineers and construction equipment to build the infrastructure that would connect Earth to its new territories. Teachers and doctors prepared to share human knowledge with alien species that proved worthy of trust. Communications Officer Park Sora monitored the surrender broadcasts that flooded communication. Networks daily species that had conquered entire sectors were offering to become human vassals. The Corvan Republic had already signed a treaty, making them the first alien civilization to officially accept Earth's authority. The process was not entirely peaceful. Some alien holdouts tried to organize resistance movements, but they quickly learned that hiding from human censors was impossible. The Quaked Dawn and its sister ships could track enemy vessels across galactic distances using technology that made alien stealth systems useless. Dr. Shin Eri established medical clinics on a dozen worlds where human colonists were beginning new lives. She worked alongside alien doctors who were eager to learn human healing techniques. The cooperation between species was remarkable, considering that just months before they had been trying to kill each other. Intelligence officer Song Nari had become something like a galactic news reporter, tracking the changes that were sweeping through alien society. Old empires crumbled while new governments formed under human guidance. Trade agreements were negotiated that treated all species fairly, rather than favoring whoever had the biggest military. The changes went deeper than politics and economics. For the first time in galactic history, a truly powerful species was choosing cooperation over conquest. Humans had proven they could destroy anyone who threatened them, but they preferred to build rather than burn. The contrast with previous galactic powers was not lost on alien observers. Captain Minho received regular updates from Earth about the colonization efforts. Human families were settling on beautiful worlds that had been evacuated by alien governments. Children who had grown up hearing stories about the murdered colonies were now playing on alien beaches under foreign suns. The crew of the Quaked Dawn found their role changing from warriors to peacekeepers. They still carried the most powerful weapons in the galaxy, but increasingly they used their reputation rather than their firepower to solve problems. Most disputes ended quickly when human ships appeared in local space. Engineering officer Cho Min-seok led teams that shared human technology with allied alien species. The gifts were carefully chosen to improve their quality of life, without giving them weapons that could threaten Earth power. Generation systems that could light entire cities were provided, along with medical equipment that could cure diseases that had plagued alien worlds for centuries. The galaxy's new order was not built on fear alone. Humans proved that they could be generous allies as well as terrible enemies. Species that accepted human leadership found their people living longer, healthier lives than ever before. Trade flourished under human protection, and exploration of unknown regions resumed for the first time in centuries. Navigation officer Jung Soo-young plotted courses for human survey ships that were mapping previously unexplored regions of space. The galaxy was much larger than anyone had realized, and there were worlds waiting to be discovered that could provide homes for both human and alien colonists. Admiral Crix had survived his wounds, and now served as an advisor to the new government that ruled Vorthen space under human oversight. He often spoke about the day his proud fleet had met its match in the depths of space, warning young officers that strength without wisdom always leads to destruction. The Teguk Dawn powered down its great weapons for the first time in months. Engineer Yoon Daeho supervised the maintenance crews that cleaned and inspected every system. The ship's incredible firepower would not be needed again as long as the galaxy remembered the lesson of human determination. Years would pass before the full impact of humanity's arrival became clear, but already the signs were everywhere. Pirates no longer dared to attack merchant vessels flying under human protection. Scientific cooperation between species reached levels never seen before. Art and culture flowed freely along trade routes that had been closed by war and suspicion. Captain Minho looked out at the stars with new understanding. He had come seeking justice for murdered colonists and found something greater than revenge. His crew had become the guardians of a new age where strength protected the innocent rather than preying upon them. The age of alien dominance was over, and the age of humanity among the stars had truly begun. The galaxy itself seemed brighter, as if celebrating the dawn of an era where justice and wisdom walked hand in hand across the infinite void of space, where all species could find their place under the light of distant suns.